In Act 4, Scene 3 of Macbeth, Macduff finds Malcolm at the palace of King Edward the Confessor in England. They mourn Duncan's death and share their suspicions about Macbeth's hand in it. Malcolm fears returning to Scotland to claim his throne, but he is moved by the fact that Macduff left his wife and child to come to England, a sign of the matter's grave importance. However, not yet fully convinced, Malcolm confesses to being a lustful and greedy man, a false claim made in an effort to dissuade Macduff. Malcolm adds that he has no virtues to balance his vices, and Macduff falls into despair for Scotland. At this, Malcolm is moved further. He says he lied about his faults and agrees to follow Macduff to save Scotland. A doctor approaches and tells them that the king will soon be out. The king is tending to a group of sick people, the doctor says, and is able to heal the sick with his touch. Malcolm explains to Macduff how he has seen the king use a touch and a prayer to cure many people of the evil, a form of tuberculosis. Ross then joins the meeting with news of Scotland, saying the country is in a sorry state. When Macduff inquires about his family, Ross is evasive and instead asks Malcolm to help. Malcolm tells him he will return with an English army of 10,000 men from his uncle Seward. Macduff again asks if Ross has any news of his family, and Ross finally tells Macduff that an ambush on the castle left his wife, child, and servants dead. Macduff has trouble absorbing this news, asking Ross to repeat the details more than once. Malcolm says that avenging their deaths will help Macduff's grief. Macduff blames himself for leaving his family unguarded, and Malcolm again encourages Macduff to use his feelings to fuel the coming battle. They set off for Scotland. Both Malcolm and Macduff seem somewhat desperate when they meet. Malcolm is not desperate not to return to Scotland, admitting his faults to convince Macduff that he's not fit to take up his father's crown. Macduff is so desperate to rid his homeland of Macbeth that he dismisses Malcolm's tales as inconsequential. Because Macduff clearly thinks a perverted spendthrift would be better than Macbeth, Malcolm understands things must be very bad with Macbeth as king. He takes up the challenge with amazing enthusiasm. When Macduff is crushed by the news that his family and servants have been murdered, Malcolm tries to spin it in a positive way, saying it will fuel Macduff in his battle against Macbeth. Malcolm and Macduff's conversation about King Edward leads them to discuss what makes an ideal king. While Edward has healing hands, Macbeth's are covered in blood.